Okay, setting the context of road trip. So we were discussing about regression. We discussed about advertisement sales data in SPSS, how to read that data. And this case study, like I told before, this case study will tell you how to read, again, we'll cover the same thing, but we'll see multiple regression now. So far, we have covered only simple linear regression, but multiple regression. कि different scenarios जब आते हैं, then how can you do real life problem, how can you solve real life problem through regression. And here through regression we'll find out which scenario to select and how Vinay can find if we have to plan a trip to Spiti, and if he has to find out कि कितना amount लगेगा, how we can predict that amount using regression. Okay, so yes, imagine section B students are planning a road trip to Spiti while everyone is in charge of the party. This is we have already discussed. So, okay, so he start planning this trip. And the first question that comes is, what should be the budget? How much budget should I allocate? Okay, how much money should Vinay allocate for petrol? That is the question that we have to answer. That is what we have to predict. Okay, can you tell me, so this is a scenario first. He has this data with him कि वो शायद एक साल पहले गया होगा and he traveled these many kilometers and this is the amount that he paid. So he has this slip, this data, and he puts this data in Excel. So can you tell me what is the dependent variable here and what is the independent variable here? क्या predict कर रहे हैं हम? What is the dependent variable and what is the independent variable?
Ma'am, amount paid might be dependent variable.
Yes, amount paid. Trip के लिए कितना amount pay करें? That is our dependent variable. And what is the independent variable?
Kilometers driven.
Yes, kilometers driven. So basically, कितने kilometers है? What is the distance? Based on that, we can calculate amount paid. So this is the first scenario where dependent variable is amount paid. Dependent variable is going to be amount paid only in all the scenarios. But we'll see how we can change these independent variables, how we include more independent variables, and what effect it has on our regression output. और जैसे जैसे हम independent variables increase करते हैं, how the output changes and which output is the best. And finally, amount paid for Spiti. Where are we going? Guys, where are we going? कहाँ पर जा रहे हैं?
Spiti. White watching.
Yeah, so Spiti, that is the plan. And it's 800 kilometers away. So yeah, kilometers driven pay, once we get the equation, we can put 800 kilometers here and then we can find out the amount paid. But first we will derive the regression equation and see what are the different things that happen or Vinay ko kaun kya kya suggest karta hai. By the way, on a side note, this calculation has to be done by you. So I'm just using Vinay's name here just to make it more interesting. It's a part of your first graded component, first assignment. Okay, so scenario first is key amount paid. Let's check this using this one independent variable, that is kilometers driven. So we run regression in SPSS and we get this output. Okay, quickly tell me, कौन सी table सबसे पहले check करेंगे? Which table are we going to check first?
ANOVA.
ANOVA table, right? And ANOVA table से क्या पता चलेगा हमें?
Whether our model is significant or not.
Yes, whether the model is significant or not. And yes, good predictors, yes. Exactly what does that significance means? Model being significant means? Yep, model being significant means, which is
the model good predictor or not?
Is kilometers driven a good predictor to predict amount paid or not, right? कि हमारा जो predictor है, हमारा independent variable है, whether that is a good predictor to predict my dependent variable. जो kilometers driven जो मैंने independent variable लिया है, whether it's a good predictor to predict amount paid. So regression क्या पता चल रहा है यहाँ पर? Is it significant? Is it significant whether the model, regression model is significant? क्या वैल्यू होनी चाहिए significant के लिए?
Less than 0.5.
Less than 0.05, not 0.5, 0.05. So is it less than 0.05? Is it less than 0.05?
Yes.
No.
What is the value? 0.039.
Greater than 0.05.
Ma'am, less than
Less than.
3.9%.
Yes. So it's 0.03. It's less than 0.05, which means this is significant or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Significant.
ma'am.
So model is significant, right? Model to significant hai. Oh, okay. So we can go with regression, right? Second क्या देखेंगे हम? What is the second thing that we have to check?
Model summary.
Model summary. Okay. And which value? What value exactly you have to see?
R square.
R square. And what is the percentage and what it is telling? What is the percentage of R square?
22.7.
Yes, 22.7%. And what does that mean?
R square होता है ना,
I think
distance from the
kilometer is
original, the line that we have.
Huh, but that is the ratio. SSR by SST is the ratio, but R square tells exactly the percentage of variance that can be explained in dependent variable using your independent variable. Okay, I'll show you that slide again. So here, 79.4% of change in sales is due to advertisement, or 79.4% of the variance in sales can be explained by advertisement. Okay, so R square tells the variance that can be explained, the change in dependent variable that can be explained using independent variable. So read it like this. It's the variance.
Yes.
Okay, this is the variance. So higher the R square, the better or the worse it is?
Awesome.
the better it is.
The better it is.
Better it is.
Better and variation ज़्यादा होगा तो better कैसे होगा?
Variation explain. Variation जो explain कर सकता है. ये हमारा okay. एक बार ये देख लेते हैं. ये हमारी regression line थी. Okay. हमने कहा regression line नहीं, हम see, let me make it again. ये हमारा for example, ये हमारा data point है. हमने एक्सेस पे स्कैटर प्लॉट ड्रॉ किया and say this is my actual point. I'm just taking one point to make you understand here. This is my actual point, okay? और मैंने यहाँ पर एक regression line draw करी. This is my regression. और ये मेरी मीन. मैं कहती हूँ कि okay, अगर मैं regression नहीं यूज करती हूँ, let's check it using mean. Okay, तो इस point को अगर मैं regression से एस्टिमेट करूंगी तो ये पॉइंट यहाँ पर आएगा रिग्रेशन पे. हाँ, चेंज दिस कलर. ये यहाँ पर आएगा. पर अगर मैं इसको कहती हूँ कि अगर मैं मीन से देखूंगी तो ये यहाँ पर आएगा. सो नाउ यू रिमेम्बर कि ये हमारा SSE था, स्क्वायर एरर, और ये जो वेरिएंस है, ये जो चेंज है, दिस इज SSR, सम ऑफ स्क्वायर रिग्रेशन. तो ये वेरिएंस एक्सप्लेन कर रहा है बेसिकली मीन से ज्यादा ये वेरिएंस. दिस इज क्लोजर टू एक्चुअल वैल्यू, इजंट इट? सो ये ज्यादा हमारा रिग्रेशन इज बेटर बिकॉज इट्स एक्सप्लेनिंग मोर ऑफ द वेरिएंस, इट्स मोर क्लोजर टू माय एक्चुअल डेटा. अगर मैं रिग्रेशन की लाइन यूज करूंगी तो मैं ये वाला पॉइंट बोलूंगी कि दिस इज, आई विल एस्टिमेट दिस पॉइंट, ऑल्दो यहाँ पर कुछ एरर है, दैट इज SSE वाला जो एरर है, बट अगर मैं मीन वाला पॉइंट, ये वाला पॉइंट अगर बोलूंगी, सो देखो मेरा एरर कितना ज्यादा हो जाता है,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? तो दिस टेल्स यू दैट हाउ गुड योर रिग्रेशन इज, कितना वेरिएंस एक्सप्लेन कर पा रहा है. वेरिएंस मींस व्हाट इज द चेंज. स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन का स्क्वायर इज वेरिएंस, व्हाट इज द चेंज. अगर सेल्स में चेंज हो रहा है, इफ माय रिग्रेशन कैन एक्सप्लेन the change in sales more than the mean value, तो मेरा regression is better. ठीक है. So 22.7% variance ये R square value through this model is explaining. Okay. So in simple regression, R is the correlation और R का square कर दोगे तो that becomes R square in simple regression. Okay. ये सेकेंड चीज हो गई. ओके कि 22.7% वेरिएंस एक्सप्लेन. Can you again tell me what do you understand by this variance? What do you understand by R square? That 22.7% of, explain it in terms of dependent and independent variables. So 22.7% means?
Ma'am, it is a low R-squared value. That means it is not explaining the relation between the independent value and the variation in the dependent value.
Yeah, it's explaining only 22.7% of the variance in dependent variable. So, so this predictor, kilometers driven, is telling only 22.7% of the variance in my dependent variable. Okay. And if I have to make a regression equation out of this, regression equation क्या बनेगी मेरी? Say regression equation is y equals to mx plus c. तो मेरी regression equation क्या बनेगी यहाँ पर? What is my slope here?
Y is equals to 7.349x plus 833.112.
Plus 833.112. Okay. ठीक है, ये मेरा scenario 1 है. Just remember this. Okay. So now there's the second scenario where Aman and Harshita feels that Vinay is doing something wrong. He needs to be more rigorous in his calculation, and he should also add oil price as an independent variable in this model. कि सिर्फ किलोमीटर्स ड्रिवन से वो जो अमाउंट पेड कैलकुलेट कर रहा है, वो रिग्रेशन आउटपुट इतना अच्छा नहीं है. वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन दिस. ओके, वन ऑफ यू पॉइंटेड आउट कि 22.7% है. किसने बोला था ये किसने बोला था अभी कि बहुत कम है, 22.7% है?
Rahul.
Okay. So Rahul has already pointed out कि 22.7% है. So Aman and Harshit also feels that Vinay needs to be more rigorous, and he should also add oil price as one more independent variable. Okay. So we are running multiple regression the same way. Okay. First thing, whether this model is significant or not in the second scenario. The model is significant or not. कौन सी टेबल देखेंगे हम?
ANOVA.
ANOVA.
Okay, and whether the model is significant or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Significant.
Significant, ma'am.
Yes, it's significant. And model being significant means?
Is less than 0.05, and it is a good predictor.
Yeah. Tell me in terms of dependent independent variables, because तुम्हें लिखना ऐसे ही पड़ेगा. You have to write it in terms of dependent independent variables. That oil price. Yeah, please continue.
That oil price and kilometer driven is a good predictor of amount paid.
Yes. So that is done. That is the first thing. Okay. Now the second thing is we have to look at which table now?
Model summary.
Model summary. Right. That is the second thing. And what is it telling us?
Ma'am, here the value of R square is high, so it is explaining more, explaining clearly the dependent and independent value.
Right. And R square value is what percentage?
90.8.
90.8%.
90.8.
90.8%. And do you remember कि पहले सिनेरियो में कितनी क्या वैल्यू थी?
21.7.
22.7.
22.7.
And here it is explaining 90.8% of the variance. So which one is better?
This one, ma'am.
This
This
one.
one is better.
Right, right.
Second.
And tell me. You were saying something, huh? Okay. And the third one is the coefficient table. So what's going to be my regression equation now? Plug in the numbers again, the same drill.
Ma'am, y equal to 9.245 x
5x
minus 8,826.952.
Let's say this is x1, but there's one more variable.
Oil prices.
Oil price.
हाँ, तो वो भी बताओ. Plus
117.059.
Let's call it x2. Okay. So if there are multiple variables, the equation becomes mx1 m1x1 plus m2x2 plus c. Okay. So this is how you can write the regression equation. And if you get the numbers for x1 and x2 ki kilometers driven kitna hai, and oil price, say kilometers driven is हम स्पीति जा रहे हैं तो 800 kilometers driven, so we can put x1 के जगह value what value we can put here?
800.
800. And if say oil price is 77 or 78, what we can put here in place of x2?
78.
And then you can calculate, right? Are you able to understand कि ये equation में हम कैसे plug in करेंगे numbers?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So first scenario हो गया, second scenario हो गया, दोनों में model significant था हमारा, but second
Ma'am?
वाला, yes.
मैम ऑयल भी डिपेंडेंट है उस पे किलोमीटर ड्रिवन पे.
Sorry, oil भी
डिपेंडेंट है
no
किलोमीटर ड्रिवन पे.
oil price and kilometers driven ये दोनों independent variables हैं.
ओके मैम, ओके.
ये दो independent variables है. Amount भी dependent है इन दोनों पर. ठीक है? Okay, तो third scenario आता है. Now Karthik suggests that Vinay should also add number of passengers as an independent variable in this model. Kilometers driven, oil price तो था ही. Number of passengers भी add कर देना चाहिए. Let's see अब क्या output आता है. And you have to tell me whether it's a good output or whether it's bad. What's the problem here? Okay, the model is significant, yes or no?
Good, ma'am.
Yes, the model is significant.
ऑलवेज है.
हाँ, sorry, what?
हम तभी प्रोसीड फर्दर करेंगे ना जब सिग्निफिकेंट ही होगा.
हाँ, right.
दिख ही रहे हैं 3.
Yes, this is 0.00. Okay. Then second thing is, okay, how good this model is. R square value क्या है?
91.9%.
91.9. Okay. अब यहाँ पर एक adjusted R square वाली भी कहानी आएगी. And adjusted R square value is 90.3%. I told you something about R square and adjusted R square. याद है कुछ R square में क्या difference है R square और adjusted R square?
R square, it will always increase, and the adjusted R square, it will only increase when there is a significant predictor.
Lovely, lovely. Yes. So that is the second thing, you know, कि यहाँ पर मेरी R square value 90.8% थी. Okay. पर मेरी adjusted R square value 89.7% थी. यहाँ पर क्या हुआ, मेरी R square value 91.9% हो गई. Little increment. And what about my adjusted R square value? ये increase हुई है या नहीं हुई है? Adjusted R square value 89.7% थी in the second scenario, और इस scenario में in third scenario
यस मैम इंक्रीज हुई है.
increase हो गई है. तो इसका मतलब क्या है? When I am adding,
Ma'am, that is because the new terms are added.
but that is it, you know, that new term that I have added, that Karthik suggested कि ये number of passengers भी add कर लो, is it right? The new term that we have added, is it significant? Is it improving the model?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because मेरी adjusted R square value तभी increase होगी अगर मैं significant predictors add करूँगी. Okay. So this is done, but let's see, there's something in coefficient table that we have to figure out now. Okay, so in coefficient, we can make the regression equation again. What is the regression equation? What's going to be my regression equation? Y equals m1x1 plus m2x2 plus m3x3. Yes, plus C. Yes, what was going to be my regression equation now?
Ma'am, 8.396 x1
8.396 x1
plus
minus
112.770 x2
yes
plus 28.672 x3
right
minus 8294.813.
yes, that's my regression equation. But now there's one catch here. यहाँ पर are you able to see this? कुछ problem दिखी यहाँ पर?
number of passengers, ma'am, significance.
Yes, this variable is not a significant variable. मेरी adjusted R square value improve हो रही है. Okay, that is good. But if I check this individual variable, then this variable is not significant. So if I ask you to give me, you know, we should not include this variable. क्योंकि ये variable ही significant नहीं है. So in this scenario, we'll not take this variable and we'll go with the previous scenario only.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, initially when we were checking ANOVA, then it was, we were getting it as significant. But when we are doing it individually, why is it not significant?
So ये ANOVA में we were using all the variables. ANOVA tells you पूरा model का significance. Okay, I'll discuss this also. ANOVA tells you overall significance, group significance, पूरे model का significance. But the individual variable, जब ये data आता है, then this is, for example, this data is amount, say kilometers driven. This data is oil price. This is number of passengers, and then you start to fit the line. So regression model is significant, but ऐसा हो सकता है that the individual variable is not significant. It can happen. So ANOVA tells you overall regression model का significance है या नहीं, whether you can run regression or not. Okay, but individual variable का significance can happen कि एक individual variable significant नहीं है. In this case, number of passengers is not a significant variable, and this you can check through this ये coefficient का table. Okay. So overall significance of the model, this is overall. Please remember this overall model ka significance. If you have to check, then check this ANOVA. But if you have to check the significance of individual variable, if you have to comment about individual variable, then you check this.
So ma'am, we'll reject it, right?
तो आपने first आपने overall model तो check किया. That is the first check. ठीक है, ओवरऑल मॉडल है, हम रिग्रेशन रन कर सकते हैं. देन यू गो टू सेकेंड स्टेप. ओके, ये अच्छा रिग्रेशन तो सिग्निफिकेंट है, बट क्या हम ये वी कैन रन रिग्रेशन. ठीक है, ये चेक पॉइंट तुम्हारा फर्स्ट हुआ. बट द सेकेंड स्टेप इज हाउ गुड दिस रिग्रेशन इज. ओके, 90.3 एडजस्टेड आर स्क्वायर वैल्यू बढ़ रही है, दैट्स इट. बट देन what about individual variables? That you check from this coefficient table. So यहाँ पर मेरा individual variable, that is number of passengers, is not significant. what can happen is when you are adding all these variables, तो तुम्हारा जो overall significance है वो तो significant रहा, but your independent variable is not significant. Let's see the fourth scenario. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll talk about it also कि ये ANOVA overall model का significance बताता है, and then this coefficient table tells about individual coefficient. Now there comes the scenario fourth. Someone now suggests that Vinay should also add driver's mood as an independent variable in this model. That is like a very, that is not a great variable to add, and that's kind of stupid variable to add. So, but still Vinay felt कि ठीक है, driver mood भी ले लेते हैं, and let's run regression and see what our output is saying, whether we should include this or not. All right. What is this ANOVA table telling you? Regression model मेरा अभी भी significant है या नहीं है?
अभी भी है.
अभी भी है. It is overall regression model मेरा अभी भी significant है because this 0.00 value is there. हो सकता है कि मेरा किलोमीटर्स ड्रिवन या ऑयल प्राइस इतना ज्यादा इफेक्टिव है दैट मेरा ओवरऑल सिग्निफिकेंस वैल्यू तो आ ही गया. आर यू एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस कि मेरा ये किलोमीटर्स ड्रिवन, ऑयल प्राइस और सारे जो वेरिएबल्स थे वो इतने स्ट्रांगली दे वर फॉलोइंग दैट लीनियर पाथ सो स्ट्रांगली कि मेरा ओवरऑल सिग्निफिकेंस तो ये आ ही गया मॉडल का. ओके, सेकेंड थिंग इज माई आर स्क्वायर वैल्यू. आर स्क्वायर वैल्यू क्या है?
92%.
92%. And my adjusted R square is
89.7%.
9.7%. So let's look कि उससे पहले वाले में क्या था हमारी वैल्यू.
80.3.
तो 90.3 से मेरा ये 89.7% कम हो गया. So is it a good model?
No, ma'am.
And even if I check it with the previous one, 89.7%. This is the second one. Second one, if I check and compare 89.7, तो adjusted R square value same ही है मेरे second model और fourth scenario में. But third और fourth scenario में तो मेरा कम ही हो गया. Anyways, third scenario में तो हम नहीं ले सकते थे because this variable is not significant. What is the scenario here? क्या variable significant है? Let's come to this coefficient table.
No, ma'am.
ये variables.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So we will not take these variables. My adjusted R square value is suggesting कि ठीक है, second वाले scenario से better है ये, okay, because this adjusted R square value is increasing. But if I look at my independently these variables, so they are not significant. So this is not the model that I should go with. Now the questions are, out of all the 4 scenarios, don't answer it now. Okay, this is your group assignment. This is your group assignment and this is graded component. This is your first graded component. This assignment plus the cases that I have given you. I have already given you SPSS data of all those cases. I'll also share questions. कुछ questions करने होंगे that you have to run SPSS, and that is also group. तो ये this one and this ये case वाला, this first and this ये second case वाला, these are the 2 assignments that you have to do. Let's look at the questions. Out of all the 4 scenarios, which scenario should Vinay select and why? So you have to tell me what is the problem in each scenario and why Vinay should select it. And you have to write it down in terms of predictors कि dependent variable ये था, predict कर पा रहे हैं नहीं, what is the first table is telling, what the second table is telling. You have to read the data like we discussed in class today. In which scenario the regression model is significant, which is the most important variable to predict amount. I told you something about beta value ना, कि beta value जिसकी highest होती है, that is the most significant predictor. Let's see here. So unstandardized coefficient से क्या होता है? Unstandardized coefficient से what you derive? What is it used for?
Regression equation.
Yes, regression equation. But when you have to compare that which variable is most important, you use these beta values. See, यहाँ पर constantly
Oil price.
oil price. Yes, oil price is the most important. It's significant also, and it's highest also, and it's positive. Okay, यहाँ पर value negative, positive भी आ सकती है, and then you can see that whether it's a positive correlation, positively related or negative related, and whether it's significant or not. You have to check whether it is significant or not, and then check which is the most important variable. Right, oil price is the most important variable when we are finding this amount to be paid. Okay. So which is the most important variable, and 1 unit change in the predictor will change the amount paid by how many rupees? Let me show this equation. Can you tell me by seeing this equation that 1 unit change in advertisement will change the sales by how many units? Just by seeing this equation. 1 unit change अगर मैं advertisement में करूँगी, how many units, by how many units my sales will change?
13.9.
Sorry, what?
42.546.
13.9.
13.9 is the right answer. May I know your name, please?
Govind.
Rohan.
Govind.
Govind. Well done, Govind. Well done. Yes. So 13.9. अगर मैं 1 unit change करूँगी advertisement, my sales will change by 13.9 units. Okay, so we have discussed this, and yes. So these are the questions that you have to do. 1 unit change in this predictor will change the amount paid by how many rupees. So whatever scenario you feel is the correct one, you have to tell that scenario, और उसके according जो भी regression equation तुम्हारी बनती है, then you have to tell what is the change. Okay. Third is you have the regression equation now based on the scenario that you selected, and we have to go where? Spiti, right? और स्पीति कितनी दूर है यहाँ से? किलोमीटर्स ड्रिवन
800.
Yes. So अब जब तुम्हारे पास रिग्रेशन इक्वेशन आ जाएगी, you can plug in the numbers of kilometers driven, you can take oil price as 77, and whatever scenario you choose, you can then calculate the amount paid. Isn't it? कर सकते हैं?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what you have to do. Quite easy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay, so that is the end of this case study. But now let me show you 2 more examples of Nike case study. I'll just quickly browse through that. Okay, so linear regression is, to understand linear regression, you need to understand measurement scales and correlation. We have already discussed this. So simple linear regression is when you have 1 dependent variable and 1 independent variable. But multiple regression is when you have 2 or more independent variables. यहाँ पर scenario 1, 2, 3, 4 में कौन से scenarios simple linear regression थे, कौन से multiple? Scenario 1 में हमने क्या लिया था?
1 independent and 1 dependent.
हाँ, so scenario 1 was
Simple linear regression.
And after that, scenario 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all were
Multiple.
Multiple.
Regression.
So हम adjusted R square हम check करते हैं in multiple regression, because in adjusted R square, what is the difference is that when we are adding new independent variable, whether it's improving my model or not, the variable that I am adding, whether it's significant or not, whether it's improving my model or not. क्योंकि R square value will always increase. जब भी तुम independent variable increase करोगे, your R square value will always increase. Okay, so there's one application in finance, so you can go through this. So do you remember beta risk, security risk? So you can go through this document, this slide later. So you can run regression here also, and security risk, and how you can take the dependent variable and independent variable. You are already doing it. You must have done it in your first semester. Okay, regression screen captures. I'm sharing these captures with you, how to do it, step by step thing. You go to analyze, go to regression, linear, and then this is how you run. Then you select statistics, then you select continue. All these tables will come, all these windows will come, and it's quite easy. However, if you counter any problem, okay, install that SPSS, and if you counter any problem, please do let me know. We can have a quick session, like 10-15 minutes session, or I can upload a video, or I can share a video with you, and we can discuss this. Or you can just, share the screenshot on the WhatsApp group, okay, and we can discuss this. Let's come to this Nike case. This is also on bivariate linear regression and multiple regression. And I'm not going to give you this assignment. This is just for your understanding, just to revise the concept. So let's see what is this Nike case. In a pre-test, data on Nike were obtained from 45 respondents. So what is the sample size here?
45.
45.
45.
The sample size is 45. 45 respondents से हमने कुछ questions पूछे, and we collected data on the usage, on sex, awareness, attitude, preference, intention, and loyalty. So usage को quote किया as 1, 2, or 3. Basically 1 means light user, 2 means medium user, 3 means heavy users. ठीक है, एक ये usage. The sex has been coded as 1 for females and 2 for males. This is 1, 2, 3, and this is 1, 2. Gender is what variable? Is it nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio?
Nominal.
Nominal.
Nominal, yes. The sex has been coded as 1 for females and 2 for males. Awareness, attitude, preference, intention, and loyalty are measured on 7-point Likert type scale. This is what data? Likert data is nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio?
Ordinal.
Okay, rating and ranking scale. Remember this? Ranking scale क्या data होता है? And rating scale.
Ranking is ordinal, rating is interval.
Yes. This is ordinal, this is interval, and Likert scale is a rating scale, isn't it? भूल गए तुम? Likert scale is a rating scale. We discussed this, no? जब scales and measurement discuss किया था. So equal interval. What is interval scale? What is the difference between ordinal and interval? Ordinal means just order. But kitna acha, kitna kharab, we can't tell that. How better it is, how good it is, we can't tell. Just tell the order, like in race, first, second, third eye. But in ranking, the difference, there is equal difference. So when I'm saying very unfavorable, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there is equal interval. So ये सारे जो variables है, awareness, attitude, preference, intention, and loyalty, on a scale of 1 to 7 capture किए गए. 1 is very unfavorable. How much would you rank Nike, say, on awareness on a scale of 1 to 7, where 1 means very unfavorable and 7 means very favorable. Okay, तो मेरा data कुछ ऐसे दिखता है. This is the data. So usage, sex, all these things. And apart from that, interval scale पे क्या cover किया मैंने? All this: awareness, attitude, preference, purchase, loyalty, on a scale of 1 to 7. This is the data view and this is the variable view. So these are the variables. यहाँ पर this data view and variable view. Okay. So I ran my SPSS, my regression on this, and I get this. And what is this telling me?
Significant.
that the model is significant. Yeah. So remember, you have to write it like this. Say the ANOVA tells us the model is a significant model. So this is, here purchase intention. What is the dependent and independent variable? Can you please tell me the model significance in terms of dependent and independent? If you have to write it down. Model significant means
whether the predictor model is good or not.
whether the predictor, that is purchase intention for Nike. Predictor means independent variable. Independent, this is another name for independent variable. Whether the independent variable, that is the predictor, purchase intention for Nike is what?
Is a good predictor or not?
Yeah, is good predictor for the outcome variable, that is loyalty. Your purchase intention say I can predict loyalty. This is what my ANOVA table is saying, and the significance, it is significant. So yes, I can say ki, yes, by using purchase intention, I can predict the loyalty. So यहाँ पर ये जो data है, by using purchase intention, I can predict my loyalty. This is what regression, this table is telling me. Okay, and how good this model is? What is the value that I am getting here?
57.6%.
57.6%, right? And this is simple regression or multiple regression?
Simple.
Yes, this is simple regression because I have
Only one independent variable.
yes, only one independent variable. Dependent variable हमेशा one ही रहेगा. Remember this. ठीक है? Only one independent variable. So that's why this is simple regression. Okay, so R square value. So that's why I'm not checking adjusted R square. I'm just checking this, my R square value, that is 57.6%. Let's see what happens when I add other variables. Okay, let's see first the coefficient table. So simply we can derive my equation, regression equation here, right? 0.757x plus 0.878. Okay, so now comes the second assignment. Now you have to run, the data is same, okay, for this also the data is same. Now run a multiple regression with loyalty as a dependent variable and awareness, attitude, preference and intention as a independent variables. So loyalty मेरा dependent variable है in this multiple regression and all other variables are my independent variables. And then compare the results with bivariate and multiple regression. So this is what I ran. What does the value of R squared tell us?
Increase in R square means it is significant.
So R square value here is 58.8%. But वहाँ से देखते हैं, before R square value, let's see whether I have that. No. Yeah, so R square value here is 58.8%. Okay, and let me show you this. So R square value is 58.8% and adjusted R square is 50.541. What you can do is you can compare it by adding more variables. कि मेरा simple regression में क्या आया? Then instead of adding all the variables at one go, here I have added all the variables at one go. You can simultaneously, and जैसे मैंने scenario 1, scenario 2, I added like that, no? In our road trip case study, you can do that. You can add one by one all the variables and check what is the change in R square or in adjusted R square. Okay. So R square value is 58.8%. This is 58. R square value is 0.58. So it is telling 58% of the variance in loyalty. All these parameters are telling 58.8% of the variance in loyalty. Okay. You asked me about this थिंक कि ये इंडिविजुअल होता है या ग्रुप का होता है. सो डज इट शो इंडिविजुअल वेरिएंस a predictor accounts for or a group variance? This model summary. It shows individual variance. This second question. Does it show individual variance a predictor accounts for or a group variance?
Group.
Yes, group. So this is overall model. So it shows group. It doesn't show variance by individual independent variables, but as a group. Individual वाला किससे पता चलता है हमें? What table?
Coefficient.
Yes, coefficient. Great, great. Okay, so adjusted R-square value only accounts for significant predictors. R-square value will increase if we increase more numbers of independent variables, even if it does not improve the model. So now you can go through this slide. You can compare what is linear regression, what is multiple regression, what are the values. So linear, which one is better? Is it linear regression or it's multiple regression? Which one is better? Linear regression ज़्यादा better लग रहा है या multiple regression?
Ma'am, linear.
Linear regression.
And why so? R-square value तो यहाँ पर ज़्यादा है.
हाँ,
Adjusted
क्योंकि वो
R-square
ग्रुप
value.
का पता लग रहा है, कुछ अकेले का आज सच पता नहीं चल रहा कि इसको इंक्रीज करने के बाद कितना एडजस्टेड आर स्क्वायर बढ़ रहा है.
So adjusted R-square value multiple regression में मेरी कम हो रही है.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why my linear regression is better. Right? क्योंकि
Yes.
मैंने और सारे variables add किए, but they were not significant. They were not improving my this thing. They were not improving my overall model. So my adjusted R square decreased in multiple regression. जब मैंने सबसे पहले मैंने सिर्फ purchase intention लिया था. And after that, I added all these variables, awareness भी, preference, attitude, सब add कर दिया. So all these variables are not, by adding these variables, these are not significant predictors. That's why my adjusted R square decreased. 0.566 था, 0.541 हो गया. So I should not include these variables. My linear regression is doing good. So you can read about this R square value and it will always increase and it will, you have to check adjusted R square value. And let's see, this is coefficient, yes. And here is the coefficient table. Can you tell me what all variables are significant here?
Purchase intention.
Purchase intention.
Only purchase
Right.
intention for Nike.
Only purchase intention, right? ये भी significant नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है, ये भी नहीं है. And maybe that is the reason कि ये सारे significant नहीं है. That's why मेरी
Value कम हो गई.
exactly adjusted R square value मेरी कम हो गई. Okay, so significant value is less than 0.05 for all the variables except purchase intention. And whether अच्छा इसमें से कौन सा variable is negatively related to loyalty? Can you tell that?
Attitude towards Nike.
Yes, attitude towards Nike is the one which is negative related. Okay, which is the most important variable? As in, which will impact my dependent variable the most?
Purchase
Purchase
intention
intention.
for Nike.
Yes, purchase intention, because the beta value is
Highest.
0.757. And you can also derive then the regression equation. So you can get the regression equation from कहाँ से?
Unstandardized coefficient.
Yes, you can get the regression equation from unstandardized coefficients. So you can include all these variables, but in case I ask you to include only those variables which are significant, then you will not use this. You will not use this. You will not use this. You will use only this purchase intention. Okay. And this is how you can make your regression equation. Okay, this is done. This is done. And then you can compare the coefficients here. You can go through this. I have already covered this, so I don't think I need to cover here anything. Yes, this is done. After that, there are certain assumptions of multiple regression. Okay, there are certain conditions that should be met. So you have to just remember these assumptions, only these assumptions. And there are certain tests we do. Okay, remember this, these tests, just the name of these tests. And I'm going to show you some output, but you don't have to do that. You have to run a scattergram maybe to check the linearity, but you don't have to run all these. You don't need to run all these. This is something extra that I'm showing you. But yes, this assumption is very important and this can definitely come. First is linearity. What is linearity? What do you understand by linearity? What is the first assumption? Linearity means linear relationship. The relationship between dependent and independent variables should be linear. That is my first assumption. Can you tell me यहाँ पर linear relationship कौन से variables का दिख रहा है? And you can check through just plotting the data. एक scattergram, first चीज जो तुम्हें करनी है, that you have to plot the data, and just by visually seeing the data you can check whether this variable is linearly related or not. Okay, linear relationship कहाँ पर दिख रहा है? ये awareness of Nike and awareness of Nike. Awareness of Nike and let's see attitude towards Nike. Is this linear?
Yes, ma'am.
This is linear. This one, little bit quite confusing.
No.
This one, no.
No.
No. No. This one also. This one, again very confusing. The one which are, you know, which you can tell just by seeing कि कौन से linear है. Attitude and awareness of Nike. That means ये वाला, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me second and third. Which one is you can see कि एकदम linear है, that is.
Purchase intention for Nike and loyalty for Nike.
Loyalty.
Purchase intention and loyalty, yes.
Then loyalty for Nike and purchase intention for Nike.
Yeah, that, you know, that's repeats. Okay. So purchase intention और इसमें हमारा सबसे ज़्यादा high correlation भी. So yes. Okay. And can you tell me what is the correlation? Correlation is highest. So loyalty for Nike is my dependent variable. Okay. This is my dependent variable. Loyalty for Nike का सबसे high correlation कौन से independent variable के साथ है? What is the value? Loyalty for Nike, which independent? So these are the independent variables. And you have to check loyalty for Nike. कौन से?
Purchase intention.
Purchase intention.
Yes, that is 0.759, so high. And after that, it's awareness. Sorry, after that, it's
Preference.
and then attitude and awareness. So you can check the correlation also कि सबसे ज़्यादा strong correlation कौन से variables से है by checking this correlation table. Okay, and whether it's positive or negative, you can also check that. Is there any negative one here? No. Okay. So that was first thing, that is linearity. To check linearity, just see the scatter diagram or you just can check the correlation table. Second is multicollinearity. It's very good that you have dependent variable. There is a relationship between dependent and independent variable. But if there is a relationship between two independent variables, then it is a bad thing. And how you do that? You check the VIF scores. अगर VIF scores तुम्हारे 5 से ज़्यादा होता है, then it means there is multicollinearity. Okay, you have to just remember this, how do you check multicollinearity and what is multicollinearity. So what is multicollinearity? What is multicollinearity? So you check for linearity में you check dependent variable and independent variable का क्या relationship है. Okay, what is the correlation, whether it's positive, negative, whether it's strong or not. And if there is high correlation between dependent and independent variable, is it good or bad? high correlation between dependent and independent variable,
Good.
it's good. But if there is high correlation between two independent variables, then it is bad, and it's called multicollinearity. So this is one assumption of regression, that there should not be multicollinearity. Independent variables, दो independent variables के बीच में correlation should not be that high. And how you can check this? You can do this by running this VIF. If VIF is greater than 5, then it suggests there is a problem of multicollinearity. Here, their value is not greater than 5, so there's no problem of multicollinearity. There's one more way, I'm just skipping that. So just remember only VIF. What do you understand by residuals? Residuals क्या होता है?
Errors.
Yes, errors. So there's one concept called heteroscedasticity, that the error term should be constant. So remember that graph कि यहाँ पर हमारा ये data है, and this is my line. So this is my error, this is my error, this is my error. So the error should be, this error should be constant, kind of, this type of thing. It should not be like this. So error term constant honi chahiye. That is my third assumption. So this is nothing but ये वाला जो part है, इसी का ये graph है. So this is my regression line, and ये equidistant थोड़ा follow होना चाहिए. That is heteroscedasticity. That my error term is constant. That is the third assumption. And then you can also check the other assumption, that error is normally distributed or not, whether it's falling on this line or not, or you can just check this residual statistics. This wali statistics mein what the thing is, the table states that all the standardized predictive values are within plus or minus 2 standard deviation. Ye plus minus 2 standard deviation pe hai, then it's good. Then there's one test called independence test, independent observations, okay, and then another is normal distribution. So you don't have to go through these tests, you don't have to run this thing. What you have to remember is that only this thing. What are the assumptions of multiple regression? These 6 assumptions, only this. You have to remember only these things. Yes, what is heteroscedasticity, and how you check linearity by plotting a scattergram. That's it. Okay. Any questions? Any question that you have? समझ में आया? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please provide this PPT in the group today?
I'll do it in next 1 hour. In fact, next 10 minutes.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
And I'll also share all the questions, everything. So when are you going to submit these 2 assignments? One is on your case. That is, the Wendy and JP Morgan or Dell wala jo cases hai. Uske maine data already, I have shared that data. When are you going to submit it? Today is Wednesday. Saturday.
The next weekend. I mean, like not coming the next one.
After Christmas.
No, not going to happen that way. So, har ek week pe you have to finish it.
Ma'am, because from next week, after 15th, there will be our exams.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, तो वो तो तुम्हारे वो हो गए, री एग्जाम हो गए ऑलरेडी, तुमने पढ़ाई कर ही ली है.
No, ma'am. There are some students in the class who have all the exams, all 8 subjects exams.
Oh, great. My blessing with them. This is going to be a group assignment. This is a group assignment. You have time till Sunday. What's it?
Ma'am, Sunday, this Sunday?
Yes, this Sunday.
No, ma'am. Next Sunday.
Ma'am, next week.
Yes,
After
ma'am.
Christmas.
Not this week.
Ma'am, next week.
After New Year.
Ma'am, 20th of December. Please.
नहीं, please से
Please.
please से कुछ. So I have to also check this. Okay, let's discuss this on WhatsApp group, right?
Ma'am, 20th, please. 20th December next week.
No,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
मेरी test है ना, बीच में
22nd December.
Yes.
In December.
Okay, let me confirm this date to you. All right. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.